Welcome back, everybody. We're going to continue on doing some creative cropping. We did this set last time, and we still have to do this here. And one is using a group of frames, and the other is actually custom cutting stuff that you want to make into a particular design. You can actually cut your own. So I'm going to show you how to create these right now. So let's go over to a blank page. And we have the photo here that I'll place on the page. And what I'm going to use is our frame tool. So once you go ahead and select that. And we're going to come out and we're going to draw a frame. But I don't want you to let go. I want you to just go ahead and draw it and keep the mouse button down. We're going to do this with your other hand. I want you to press the up arrow on your keyboard, and you'll see that the frame actually splits in two horizontally. Now, if I click on or I press the right arrow on the keyboard, you'll see that it splits equally vertically. Now, since you have the mouse button held down, you still can resize it if you want. Okay, so go ahead and just make the 4 boxes, the 4 frames, any size you want that sits on the page comfortably, and let go. And now we have 4 frames. Pretty cool? All right. I'm going to go ahead and press the V button to get my pointer back, and I'm going to click on that photo, and I'm going to move the photo up where that frame is, and I'm going to size that picture to fit on that frame. And you can move around and crop it so it's basically sits comfortably over that frame. And I'm going to go ahead and crop this side in. Once you're happy with the picture and how it sits with those frames, I want you to go ahead and cut it by selecting it and hitting Command X. And that'll cut the picture into memory. And then just go ahead and select the frame, one of the frames, right click and paste into. And we're going to do the same thing for all of these. Just click on it and right click, paste into, and you'll see that when we paste into it, that the picture will go in position on how we did it when we laid the picture over all 4 frames. So it looks like 4 separate pieces, but it's all the same photo. Anyway, that's a nice look and everything, but what if you want to go ahead and adjust where the gaps are on these frames? Now, I really didn't have a really good use for this tool, but this tool comes in really handy here. And what that tool is, let's go over to it, is this one right here. It's called the gap tool. Let's go ahead and select that. When we come over, you'll see when we go between 2 frames, you'll see that little bar appears, okay, and it turns gray. And that means that it's going to change the gap between these 2. So what it does is, I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and you'll see that you can move that gap up and down in those frames. Now it looks like nothing's happening to the picture because we're recropping this frame with the picture sitting inside of it on both sides at the same time. So it kind of looks, let me do this side, and I'm going to move this over, and it just looks like we're magically moving stuff around and nothing's happening to the picture, but we're just dynamically cropping the photo inside each and every frame that we've pasted into. That's what it's doing. Pretty cool? Yeah, I thought you guys might get a kick out of that. When you get a chance, go ahead and try this out for yourself and see how well that works for you. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put that right here for now. And I'm going to go ahead and use another copy of that photo. Since we already have it in memory, I'm just going to say paste, which is Command V, and we'll paste another copy onto here. Now, this last crop is actually a real separation. Here we're just basically making the frames and pasting the same photo into each and every one of those frames. In this technique, you'll see that we're actually going to physically cut the photo using another tool, and that tool is our scissors tool. Go ahead and select that. Now the scissors tool is really more used for like objects, for if you're going to do like split an ellipse or a circle, or you're going to be splitting a square, a frame that you've made. Now, since this picture is actually sitting in a frame, you can turn around. I'll show you right now. We can click on there. Let me get real close to that. And let me come to the bottom. And you'll see that when we get to where the actual frame is, because we're not really cutting the photo, we're cutting the frame. Okay, that's something to keep in mind. And I'm going to go ahead and click it on the bottom. And we've actually made a cut. And I'm going to hit the V key to get back to my pointer. And you'll see if I move this over that that is actually cut. So this is not no trick where we put two frames and cut the photo in each. This is the original frame. We've actually just split that frame into two. Now, you're thinking, wow, that's cool. I could just keep going ahead and using the scissors and keep cutting on this thing. Now, there's one issue with this. I'll show you right now. Let's go ahead and bring this over like we're going to make another cut. And guess what? Look what happened. The issue is, and let me undo that, and I'll show you what the issue is. The issue is when we actually do a cut down this section here, it splits that frame, but it's open on this end. And let me show you exactly what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and click on this one frame, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a stroke, a black stroke, and I'm going to go ahead and make the stroke big so you can see what I'm talking about. So here you can see that the stroke goes all the way around, but it stops right there. So this is actually an open-ended object. That's why the scissors tool is not working correctly when you're trying to do an additional cut after you do the first cut. It's because this side is open, and let me go ahead and do the other side as well. You'll see that both sides are open here where I made that cut. Now, we can fix this. The way to fix this, and I'll leave these strokes on here just so you can see what I'm talking about, is once you do your first cut, you select both those objects, and then we're going to go under Object, Paths, and we have a command here that says Close Path. I want you to select this and see what happens. I'm going to close it, and look what happens. Now these things are whole again because that path goes all the way around that frame now. And with that, you can now use your scissors tool again on either one of those. Let me go ahead and select these. I'm going to take the stroke off. I'm going to go back to the scissors tool. And now I can turn around and make another cut. No problem. So using this scissors tool technique, you can actually physically cut a picture you just placed on a page into these different shapes. Okay? But just remember, if you're trying to make multiple ones, that you have to turn around and close that path. That's all for this demonstration. When you get a chance, I want you to try this out. It's really fun, and I think you'll really enjoy this. And we'll see you in the next video.